Hey y'all, it's me. It's your girl, the real deal Lanita Skills Reaction Channel. Like, share, and subscribe. What's up, real deal? What's up with y'all? Hope everybody enjoying their evening, night, noodle day. Hope everybody's staying hydrated. It's so hot out there, 95 degrees. It is hot. Y'all, I want to get into a content today. Our content is about why did Bryan Kohberger's attorney request DNA from the prosecutor to charge his client. Yeah. The prosecutor is not sharing it with Kohberger attorney. And I'm trying to see how are they going to use that in court. You know what I mean? How are they going to use it if he can't, if it's a lot that he don't know. So how are they going to do that part? But I'm not too good with all this attorney stuff, but I'm just saying, let's take a look at this, y'all. And maybe we'll get some kind of understanding, okay? Now, what it is, listen to this. And what we'll do, this is what we do on my reaction, on the Real Deal Reaction channel. We break things down. That's what we do.
On Tuesday in Idaho for a pre-trial hearing, and the 28-year-old arrived not in his orange prison uniform, but in a black suit, and sat quietly while his lawyers pleaded with the judge on several motions before the court. Specifically, they are asking for the judge to force the state to turn over a bunch of investigative information, including backgrounds on some of the police officers involved in the case who may be called to the stand. Kohberger's attorney said that the need for this information as quickly as possible is even more crucial now because the state will seek the death penalty if their client is convicted. Now, on Monday, the Latah County DA's office filed paperwork to inform the court that they are considering all penalties for the quadruple murder suspect, including a capital sentence. In their explanation, the state listed several reasons as to why they could make this a capital case, including the fact that the murders were especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity.
Did you know that with Omega?
Wow, but y'all know what? Something I found out the other day about Bryan is Bryan used to be on drugs. And that house they in, that seemed like that's the only thing them young kids were doing. And Bryan was young then too, y'all. And they used to let everybody come in that house. They had, excuse me, y'all, I apologize. They had everyone coming in that house. Everybody was in and out that house. So I don't even understand how they picked Bryan Kohberger. But when you're up under the influence of something, it can be anyone. Okay, let's go back. If he convicted, y'all, he will be facing death penalty.
Kohberger's defense team is now gearing up for what may literally be the fight of his life, and they are mounting a major defense. Kohberger's lawyers claim there is no connection, and that's a quote, between their client and the victims of the Idaho murders. And they don't believe that prosecutors will be able to prove one exists during trial. Clearly, based on the fact that the state is going for the death penalty, they would probably disagree with that there. New court documents are giving us our first clue as to what Bryan Kohberger's defense strategy will be in court this October as he fights 4 counts of premeditated murder and 1 count of burglary in the stabbing deaths of Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Gonzalez, Ethan Chapin, and Santa Kernodle. We've known for months that a knife sheath was left at the crime scene. It was discovered to the right of Maddie Mogen's body. It was buttoned side down, partially underneath of her and the comforter. On the snap of that K-bar sheath, investigators found a single source of DNA, which they matched to Bryan Kohberger. According to prosecutors, the DNA...
Yeah, let's stop it right there. All of that blood. This video here is for mature audience, not for kids. All of that blood DNA out there on all these bodies, on every last one of the bodies. Whoever fought them or whoever did this to them, DNA is going to be on them. That's a lots of blood. So this shouldn't be that hard to identify who did it. They're gonna have to be careful. If an unrelated individual randomly selected from y'all, I believe it's some more people in this. I still don't. I don't care what they say. I just don't believe Bryan Kohberger, that boy, that dude. I don't. I really don't. Okay.
Random person off the street. That evidence objectively sounds not great for the defense, but the suspect and his team are working to neutralize this DNA evidence, and they're coming at it from all angles, including the possibility that they believe it could have been planted. In their own words, the DNA discovered at the scene and how it was tested is, quote, extremely important to the defense in this case. I am not a lawyer, but I've been reporting on these types of cases for more than a decade. It sounds to me like they are trying to put together a solid objection to the DNA evidence being admitted at all at trial, which would be fascinating to see at court. If the jury never gets to hear that Kohberger's DNA was found at the crime scene, on the item that likely held the murder weapon and touching one of the victim's bodies, well, it would be a crushing blow to the prosecution. Back in an earlier video, I spoke to attorney Nima Rahmani, who correctly predicted that Kohberger's team would attack the DNA evidence at trial, and that is exactly what we are seeing unfold.
The defense is going to attack the evidence in this case, and one thing that I expect them to do is attack the DNA, say it's not reliable, it's only one source, and it could have been transferred there by anyone, and there's going to be a whole host of other people that have DNA there. They're also going to attack the other key evidence cited by the prosecution. We know the cell site evidence is key, but the defense is already trying to poke holes in that, saying that the cell phone evidence doesn't match up with the video surveillance of the white Hyundai Elantra, maybe minutes off. So all the defense can do in a case like this is raise reasonable doubt. So whatever they can do to attack the prosecution's key evidence, that's what they're going to do. They're going to put up factual roadblocks as well as legal hurdles as well. That's why you see them attacking everything, whether it's pushing for a gag order in this case or going through a full preliminary hearing. We're going to see approximately a week of witness testimony. They're not going to waive preliminary hearing in a case like this. They're going to do everything they can to try to win this case by raising a reasonable doubt with one or more jurors or even on appeal.
So how are they going to do this? Not to get too into the weeds with the legal jargon, the argument right now between the defense and the prosecution is all about discovery. According to the American Bar Association, discovery is the formal process of
Okay. Let's see what they talk about right here, y'all, because these folks trying to talk fast. Now, let's take a look at this together, y'all. Okay, let's take a look at discovery. Okay. Now, Discovery Association, let's see what it's saying. To begin preparing for trial, both sides engage in discovery. Okay, this is the formal process of exchanging information between the parties about the witnesses and evidence they present at trial. That's what discovery is about. But what they are not doing, people, is giving them the information that they need about what the result came out to be, and that is not right. So the discovery enables the parties to know before the trial, before the trial begins, what evidence may be presented. So that's what discovery did. Wow, she did that good. Okay. So discovery enables, they didn't, the parties to know. They didn't let them know, y'all, before the trial begins, what evidence may be presented. Okay. It designed to prevent trial by ambush. That's what discovery for. Where one side doesn't learn of the other side's evidence or witnesses until the trial. Now, if you're going to say it that way, that means that the defense team needs to know what the results are. When there's no time to obtain answering evidence. Wow. Oh, so in other words, that ain't fair. That's not fair. This is a formal process of exchange of information between the parties about the witnesses and evidence. So if it was about that, then why the defense team don't know about this? Discovery enables the parties to know before the trial begins what evidence may be presented. It's designed to prevent trial ambush. Where one side doesn't learn the other side's evidence. So, in other words, sound like to me then the prosecutor got their own evidence of what they think, not what they know. That's what it sounds like, y'all. What y'all think, real deal? What y'all think? Okay, let's come out of here. Y'all tell me what y'all think about that.
Changing information between the parties about the witnesses and evidence they will present at trial. The reason this rule exists is to prevent trial by ambush, basically to avoid those gotcha moments that we love on Law & Order. Every defendant is innocent until proven guilty and has a constitutional right to a fair trial. The discovery process helps guarantee that. So how does all of that specifically relate to the Idaho murder case? Well, Kohberger's lawyers believe that prosecutors have information that should be by law disclosed to the defense. The defense is claiming that Latah County prosecutors are withholding specific information, which is effectively, quote, hiding its entire case.
So, hold up, guys.
I feel comfortable when I got involved with gold.
Okay. Now, when you talk about ambush, now you're talking about a surprise attack. So that's what they why is they surprising that prize? When you talk about ambush, hold on, y'all. Okay. When you talk about ambush, you talk about a surprise attack by people lying in waiting in a concealed position. So in other words, somebody lying. So will it be that let me ask y'all something. So that's what ambush means. Go back to right here. Go back. Let's go back right here. Somebody lying into the evidence. Here you go. Here we go. It got, wait a minute. Okay, right here. It got it's designed to prevent trial by ambush. It's supposed to prevent this information, a surprise attack by people lying in a concealed position. Like this was a concealed position. But I just want to know why the prosecutor holding on to it themselves. I guess because when there are no time to obtain answering evidence, they might be lying, y'all. Prosecutor might be lying. That's why they ain't showing him nothing, because they don't have the information, allegedly.
they will present at trial. The reason this rule exists is to prevent trial by ambush, basically to avoid those gotcha moments that we love on Law and Order. Every defendant is innocent until proven guilty and has a constitutional right to a fair trial. The discovery.
Yes, ma'am.
I had a thought, okay? And just I want to add to it that I will pass on your information to Xavier. I'm not going to do it today. I'll do it after the holiday, and let you tell him. I'll just let him know, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell him, that I have some new information for you, and I have a number for you. Can you call this number, and she'll be able to give you the information that I know. Something similar to that, but I won't tell him what I now know. Okay? I'll let you tell him. And I think that's what you were trying to say initially, right?
We already said this, cuz.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I was saying that I feel comfortable saying it to him or telling him.
I thought you had to go somewhere.
I am. I'm on my way out now. I'm just waiting for Michael to come upstairs.
Okay, well, you gone.
Okay.
All right.
But I'm just like, I'm going to let you tell him.
All right.
All right, bye.
Bye. Okay, y'all, I apologize.
The process helps guarantee that. So how does all of that specifically relate to the Idaho murder case? Well, Kohberger's lawyers believe that prosecutors have information that should be by law disclosed to the defense. The defense is claiming that Latah County prosecutors are withholding specific information, which is effectively, quote, hiding its entire
That's
case.
right. They hiding information. The prosecutor team, they might be lying. They might can't even prove Bryan Kohberger's DNA was on that. They trying to put it out there like that and not telling the truth. DNA evidence.
The main issue that Kohberger's team is focusing on has to do with the DNA that investigators discovered on the snap of that knife sheath. The DNA was first run through the law enforcement database CODIS, but it didn't get a hit. Now, at the time, from there, local authorities dug into Kohberger to piece together enough evidence of his potential guilt to secure an arrest warrant. The most crucial piece of that evidence was a different DNA.
You know what? I hate for y'all to hear this. Like I told y'all before, I believe what's going to end up happening. They're going to dismiss this. Not dismiss. Bryan going to win because he innocent. And it's going to be like they don't have nobody else to go with this. But I showed y'all some information the other day that I believe that dude that was out there with Kaylee knows something.
DNA sample than the one we've just been talking about. This one was taken from Bryan Kohberger's father. It was obtained from an item in the family's trash and matched with a 99.998% accuracy to being from the father of the sample left on the knife sheath. Translation: the sample on the sheath was Bryan Kohberger's. After Kohberger was arrested, his DNA was taken by law enforcement via a cheek swab and then finally compared against that original sample from the knife sheath. I know this sounds like a lot, and I've actually left out the really tedious sciencey stuff, but I've spoken to experts who have pointed out that this DNA evidence could be the difference between a guilty or not guilty verdict. This is why it is paramount for Kohberger's team to poke holes in its authenticity if they want to have any shot of him walking free. Now, they don't seem to be disputing that the touch DNA on the sheath belongs to Kohberger. They seem to be preparing to tear down the science around how it was tested and how it got there to begin with. And the prosecution is trying to keep secret some of that genetic genealogy information. And their reasons are twofold. One, the majority of the workflow is done by the FBI inside of online portals on the website. Prosecutors say they didn't document the work.
Right, let me see. She's just talking. She's just doing what I'm doing. Let's see.
The appointment is very accurate.
Let's see what else she got here, y'all. Let's see. Okay, hold on for 1 second. Okay, That's why I want to say. Let me make sure y'all can see. Okay, right here it says what the state's argument asked this court and Mr. Kohberger to assume is that the DNA on the sheet was placed there by Kohberger and not someone else. During an investigation that spans hundreds of members of law enforcement and apparently at least one lab the state refuses to name. Y'all, I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm going to share this with y'all real deal. I'm going to put this up closer so y'all can see. It's no way somebody would commit a crime like this and leave anything around. Would drop anything. It's no way they could have found it. Could have been an officer that did this, allegedly. Could have been an officer that they knew that came to the house that did this because they so tired of coming to the house, allegedly. Because only a detective would know to do something like this, to put that sheet up under there after he done stabbed everybody. Why is this left up there in the bed? So y'all got to ask yourself, is anybody in law enforcement involved in this? Allegedly. Y'all got to ask yourself that. Because I still don't believe it's Bryan. That's why Bryan not talking, because he ain't did nothing, allegedly. Hold on, yeah.
And apparently at least one lab the state refuses to name. One other avenue that the defense is...
I'll say yes. Could Kohberger walk free? Yes.
Looking into regarding the DNA profiles is the possibility of other relatives who might be similar to Mr. Kohberger. That sounds like they're going to suggest that the knife sheath DNA could belong to someone related to Bryan Kohberger and not Bryan specifically. Again, this feels like a huge leap to me, but according to his lawyers, this line of thinking, quote, is extremely important to the defense in this case. Now, all of this really boils down to one major defense strategy that I believe his team will cling to. Their belief that law enforcement already had their sights set on Kohberger and then made the investigation work towards proving their predetermined theory.
Let me skip a little bit. Yeah, okay, right here. Okay, coming from the after they do that, what this is? Kohberger, yeah, I think they put it on Kohberger.
They write, a massive investigation
came to focus on him and him only. A state appears to be trying to hide its original domino, such that he cannot discover why. I guarantee you that's true. I believe so too. I believe so. We're going to put this on somebody. So we're going to put it on Kohberger.
Came to focus on him and him alone. The state appears to be trying to hide its original domino such that he cannot discover why. The defense also plans on attacking the investigation on another front by pointing out instances where they believe law enforcement ignored other potential suspects. 3 additional male DNA profiles were discovered in and around.
Y'all, listen to what they're saying. Listen what they're saying, y'all.
The crime scene, 2 in the house and 1 on a glove found outside a few days after the murders. Like Kohberger, these DNA profiles didn't get any hits in CODIS. All of these seem suspicious at first blush and definitely warranted further investigation. A glove certainly could have belonged to the killer.
Well,
and the 2 other male DNA profiles.
Where the deceased was located. If all of this right here, why is Bryan the only one that they got handcuffed? Why is Bryan the only one locked up? Do you think that some guys know about it over there where Bryan lives? They got the DNA within the home where the deceased were located and another unknown male DNA on the glove found. Who is this unknown man? Why is he not in court? Who is this unknown man?
Were discovered, quote, where the deceased were located. Pretty big leads, if you ask me. And as far as we or the defense are aware, it's not clear whose DNA that is.
That's right.
It is possible, however, that the identities have been discovered and police ruled those people out as suspects. Or that the type of DNA and where it was located was deemed irrelevant. Here's what I mean by that. Here's an example of how DNA evidence could seem really important, not so much.
Yeah. Okay, who DNA is it? Let me ask you something. Do y'all? My cousin and I was just talking about DNA. Her DNA came back that my son was her cousin. Okay, now who DNA is it? Y'all got to be done picked up more than one DNA on this case. That's too much. That's too much. This is too much.
And 1122 King Road was a party house. These images taken of the...
Look, y'all. Look at the party house. How in the world this hell can be? Look, blood on the outside of the house. Look at this. What is this? Look like somebody cooking. Look, y'all. What's that, a coffee cup? What's that? Cough medicine? What is this stuff? What is this? Oh, I got Christmas lights up.
The crime scene shows the home exactly as it was the night of the murders. Look at the mess. Empty cups, bottles, dirty dishes, the remnants of beer pong. There's no doubt a ton of DNA in this house. It will likely be the state's case at trial that the other DNA profiles found at the scene aren't relevant to the case. Team Kohberger, however, will want to disagree. And so in order to do that...
Them kids, it's so many DNA out there. How they gonna go by this now? It's DNA all in their bag. How they come? Oh man, they full of junk. They full of it. No way. No way. No way. I know they gonna. So that means you're accusing somebody else now.
This, they need the information, the discovery, ahead of time so that they can plan. And that is what they're asking for. Now, to be clear, the prosecution plans on handing all of this discovery over. They're just on different timetables. We also know now, based on this...
I believe it's somebody work with law enforcement. I really do. Allegedly. It got to be somebody work with law enforcement or either security. Because it's like undetected work. It's detected work.
Lawyers are looking for any entry points to say, look, it wasn't our guy, could have been this guy or that guy. Remember, they don't need to offer an alternative suspect or prove Kohberger's innocence. Their only job in defending their client is to show reasonable doubt. If a single juror says to themselves, well, it might have been cigarette guy, it could be the difference between Kohberger spending life in prison or walking out of court a free man of the crime scene.
I wouldn't have lasted this long
crazy. This is some crazy stuff, man. Woo! So they wow.
The murders. And on the night of the slayings, it was tracked using CCTV footage from Kohberger's apartment in Pullman, Washington to 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho.
Well, I showed y'all that. They trying to say this don't even look like the car went by. But on the camera, it caught it.
Then spotted essentially casing the house, driving back and forth around the area 3 times in the wee hours of the night and disappearing briefly during the time frame of the
did
killings.
Nobody call the police and tell somebody there's somebody out there riding around in a circle? I know somebody woke.
And then seen again, leaving the area at a high rate of speed at 4:20 a.m. That is after the time that the 4 victims were believed to have been stabbed to death. The car was impounded in Pennsylvania the day the suspect was arrested and has gone through rigorous forensic testing. How the car was first identified remains a mystery to the defense, and like with the DNA, they're demanding answers. Now, Kohberger's lawyers want to know exactly how police were able to identify specifically a white Hyundai Elantra based off of these blurry images of a white sedan. They also claim that the analyst working on this was heavily...
Yeah. But I got a question to ask y'all. Do y'all believe this man guilty? Let's talk about it. How many in the chat believe that this man is guilty? And if you believe he's guilty, put a 1. If you think he's not guilty, put a 2. If you don't know, I don't know. IDK. All right, y'all. This your girl, the real deal, Anita Gill. I just don't want them to convict the wrong man, but I do believe allegedly that the prosecutor team cannot prove that was Bryan Kohberger DNA. But I guarantee you that somebody else had Bryan car. Somebody else did this.